Hey guys, this video is going to be going over how we put together the Destiny deck boxes. I've already kind of assembled all the components here from what you're going to get in the package, and separated them out just to make it a little bit easier for you to sift through visually. So right here we have all the stuff for our top, or our cover I guess. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of put those over the side. We have our dice carriages and our top for the dice carriages. We're going to also put that over here. To put this together, we do need a little bit of glue, mainly for the top, but you do want to put it at least on the edges for the bottom. So wood glue is the best. I wouldn't really recommend super glue because it will more than likely leave a residue on your dice and your card protectors and everything like that. So I'd really recommend using wood glue. Because we're using wood glue, you have to use clamps. That is the only reservation that I have about that. So it does require a little bit of time. If you don't have wood clamps, you can use books. I don't necessarily recommend that either, but if you have the wood clamps, it's always the best way to do it. 8-inch wood clamps are probably the best way because we're a little bit over 6 inches here to fit into 20 dice into the dice carriage. So just kind of make sure you kind of planned ahead a little bit. But we're gonna go ahead and get right into it. I've already gone and sanded everything, so it's really not, you don't have to sand if you don't want to. I recommend it just to make sure that that everything fits in really well, and it's not necessarily too difficult to put them all together. The laser gets just about everything, but you always will have little stragglers that could possibly keep it lifted up a little bit or something like that to maybe not have the best seal. So before you go ahead and start gluing everything, you want to go ahead and make sure that everything fits in properly. So you basically take your little front here, put that there, and then actually that's backwards. There are very specific ways that these have to go in. So before you put on that, you want to put in your little token separators, and you want to flew away on me. So you want to just kind of come in here and just kind of fit these in. You got that, and then you're going to take your internal wall here and go ahead and fit that in this guy. Now this inner carriage with all the separators and stuff, you don't necessarily have to glue this because once you get the walls and they're glued in, this is not going to come out. So then you have your one of your interior. Let's do this guy. They're both the same. I don't know why I did that. So it's kind of popping out on me here. All right. So once you kind of get everything settled in, you want to kind of line it up with all the slots in the base, and then just kind of pop it on down here. Alright, you want to make it snug as possible. Nothing's really going to fall out once you get the walls in there. You can go ahead and put put your walls to make sure that everything's gonna fit up properly. Once you've pretty much gotten this, again, you don't have to glue this part if you don't want to. It's definitely not required. I don't glue them, so you can take that for what it is. So right before we go ahead and glue, you still want to go and just kind of make sure everything fits together properly, and figure out your best way to kind of fit it in here. front piece is always the hardest one because there's so many small slots everything has to fit into, so you may have to kind of finagle it a little bit. Once you get it in though, it's always easier the second time. So there we go, we got that in there. Everything's nice and flush. Now you will have to take that off to glue it on, but that's just to make sure everything fits on. Before you slip this one in, you always want to make sure that the deck holder is also slotted in there, and it should just kind of pop right in. And then same thing with this one. This one just slides right on, nice and easy. And then we have the one on the back, which does the same. Really quick. All right, so that's your deck box right there. Now, if you see here, this is where the clamps come in. You have a little give here, and so that's where you want to, whenever you glue, you're going to want to take one of these clamps, or just a little plier clamp like that, and stick it there to make sure that so when the glue sets, it's nice and tight. So we're going to go ahead and take these off. We're going to do the hardest one first. Just kind of slide that off there. Make sure not to put too much pressure while you're trying to move these around. Wood still will break, so you just want to make sure that you're not bending it too much. So we'll go ahead and take our wood glue. This is Tight Bond. It's not, I mean, any wood glue will do. This is not required for this kind of thing. So you just want to come and take a little bit where you're going to have everything contact. Now with wood glue, it's pretty nice. Once you can put a little bit more on there than you probably need, and then take a paper towel and wipe it off. Wipe off any of the excess while it's drying. So then you want to come and just pop this on. And again, this is the hardest one. Once you get past this one, everything else is a walk in the park. And because it's not super glue, you don't have to worry about the wood glue drying too fast. So you don't have to rush this, or you can take as much time as you need to for the most part. It's always this one right in the middle. There we go. Alright, so that one's on there. So now we want to do the sides. And again, you would just want to come and make sure that guy's in that side, not here, because it's a little bit harder to put on. Oh, well, actually, scratch that. It's actually easier to do it that way. Sorry. So you want to come in here and put more beads of glue on the bottom, and then just put a little bit on the top there. Alright, so we got that piece in, and that's fine for right now. And then you're going to come and do over this side. Do the same thing, just put some beads right there. And you can put a little bit just on this guy right here so it connects right into that one. Then just come in and slide it right on. And then do the last one over here. So for this one, you want to put little dabs right on the top here, and then some on the bottom. And then same thing, just kind of slide it right on. Okay, so like I said, this is where the it's going to have a little bit of give, so you want to come in here, take a wood clamp and just kind of pop it on there. And then you can take your other wood clamps and just kind of come in here, kind of get some pressure, make sure everything's sitting connected. Do the same thing over here. The most wood glue takes about 30 minutes for it to set, so you don't want to mess with this too much while it's just sitting here. Once it's kind of in, you can make sure that you don't need any other spots that need to be pressed in with one of these. And most of the time you don't. Okay, so that's pretty much good. We can just kind of set this off to the side for right now, and we can go ahead and do one of the other pieces. So, alright, while we wait with our clamps, so with the dice carriages, there's actually two different sizes here. The smallest size actually goes inside of the actual dice box. So you don't want to use this. You can glue that one into the bottom if you'd like. It's definitely not required. Some people may or may not like the dice carriage that keeps it, so you can just take that out and just completely remove it. Put some felt in there if you'd like. We just want to give you the option to have that. So you have that there. Now the other two, these will be the exact same size. So whenever you are gluing this together, because this is your dice cover, again, you don't have to have the dice carriage if you don't want to. You can just use that, and that'll fit right on top of the dice. And you can use that to just keep them covered up during the game. But if you do want to, the only thing you have to do is just glue along the sides here and then just a little bit there. So we're going to go ahead and do that. You don't need a lot of glue here because it's a pretty flat surface. Just need a little bit of dab on every little corner. Okay. So when you're putting this together, you just want to make it as even as possible on all corners. And then of course you're going to want to clamp this down for sure. We got some more little clamps right here. Like that. Do one of the big ones because I'm out of the small ones. Just kind of clamp that down, and then again you want to let this sit for about 30 minutes, so you'll just kind of put this aside. So the top is a little bit trickier because there's no supports on the inside, so with the clamping and everything, you're gonna definitely want basically 4 points of contact while it's drying to make sure that that everything, one, stays straight, but then also doesn't bow out. So you're gonna need a couple different. You'll definitely need 4 clamps for this. 2 6 inches and 2 8 inches for the C clamps. I actually have a framing clamp that uses a strap, and it kind of goes around, so it's easier. You can get one of those. They're pretty cheap on eBay or Amazon. But if you don't, C clamps work just fine. But you just want to make sure whenever you're putting this together that you definitely clamp this, because this is going to be the weakest part of the box, just because there's no supports on the inside holding it together. So there is a front and a back for this. So you want to make sure that you go ahead, before you start gluing everything, you want to go ahead and make sure that everything's good. This one, I want to say, it's that side. You got that. And you can see, like, this is the wrong side here, because whenever you put this here, you have less space over here, more space over here. There's a reason why we do that. It's to make sure that the inside has the side of the vector grid whenever we cut it. So you can kind of see the little scoring marks here. It's kind of hard to get rid of those from the laser. So you want to have it close on the inside to where it, whenever you put these in, it hides as good as it can. So you want to go ahead and just do a little dry run here and put these together. Make sure everything fits together properly. All right, and everything's nice and good in there. And again, you know, whenever you get to clamping these, you definitely want to make sure you have two points of force going this way and 2 points of force going this way, just to make sure everything stays nice and tight. And then if you really needed it, if you noticed any bowing on the edges here, then you want to put another little vice clamp on there just to make sure that it stays nice and tight. Alright, so we got that. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and get my framing clamp, just so you can kind of see how it works. It's pretty cool. Once we kind of get this gluing and we'll sit there, then we're going to mess with the framing clamp and get it all together. So let's go ahead and start gluing. Now there isn't really a correct way to do this in the order. I always like to do the smallest piece first and then do the two sides and then the back. I don't think there's a wrong way to do this one. So let's go ahead and beads on there. Now you definitely want to make sure when you're putting on the edges here that you put glue on these little nubs to make sure that that there's just more glue holding the top together. So we're going to do this side next. Again, you want to put a little bit of glue on there just to make sure everything holds once it's dried. Just kind of slide that on there. The adhesive from the glue should just, while you're doing this, as long as you don't nudge it, should keep everything in place before you can get your clamps and stuff in place. Again, you don't have to worry about going too fast because wood glue takes a lot longer to dry than super glue does. Okay, let's put that on there. And again, you can come in here with a Q-tip or paper towel and go and clean all of this up before it dries. Then we'll go ahead and do this last little bit here. And then we're going to put a little bit of glue on each of these. There we go. All right. So I'm going to get a Q-tip real quick, and I'm just going to kind of clean some of that up. And just going to come in here and just wipe it off. Now, if I'm doing this wrong, because I'm definitely not a woodworker by any means, if I'm doing this wrong, please tell me, and I will revise the video. Because this is not my expertise. I'm kind of still learning as I go. But alright, so that is as close as it's going to be to secure until we put the clamps on it. So I'm going to take my framing clamp here. And there is one of our cats, Miss Mandy. She's a total princess. So we got this bone up a little bit, so I have yet another clamp. I'm going to kind of put this on there just to make sure that that stays. Then I have one more clamp that I can go and get. Alright. So here's another clamp, and these clamps are really nice just because they can it's flat pressure, so you don't have to worry about it bending it too much as long as you have it nice and secure. Don't have to put up too much. Oh, well, Mandy wants to say hi. Here is one cat, and she's gonna go away. Then I'm gonna put one more clamp just to make sure. Again, everything drying time is about 30 minutes for everything to set. You don't want to put a lot of stress on these for about 24 hours. You can, I mean, once about 30 minutes to an hour has passed, you don't have to worry about too much about damaging it as long as you're ginger with it. So you can go ahead and start putting in your tokens and your deck and everything like that. So we're gonna go ahead and take a break. Hey guys, we're back. I went ahead and took off all the clamps. The glue is fairly dry, so we're ready to just kind of throw everything in here and just kind of show you how it's supposed to look. So we have our bottom dice carriage that goes in here. You don't have to glue this in, because if you ever wanted to take it out and use this as a discard area or something else, you could do that. So you just kind of slip that in here with the larger end, or the thicker end, towards the back. Then you just want to kind of come in here and you can start throwing your dice in. They set in here pretty nice. And we have them angled to make it easier to pick up while you're in play. And I'm just kind of spreading them out here just so you can kind of see the capacity. And so you got that, and then when you take the topper, the thick end on the topper goes that way, and you can just kind of sit it in right there. It should sit nice and flush when everything lines up properly. All right, and then here's your deck. You can come and take your deck and just sit it right in there. Then we have our Fate Token set, which is available on our shop right now. You just kind of sit these in here. I like them sideways. Just they're a little bit easier for me to pick up. Obviously, anyway, which is easier for you. We got our little shield tokens here. We have compartments for each of those, and just kind of throw those in there. Now, the first couple times that you're going to put the box or the topper on, it's going to be a little snug just because the wood has to, obviously sit exactly how everything will sit normally. So the first couple times you're going to have to break it in just a little bit. So once it's on there, you can kind of see it's nice and flush here. Everything's gonna, at least the dice are gonna stay in place. Some of the tokens, especially the shield ones, because they're smaller, if you flip it upside down, they probably will fly around a little bit. They're not gonna go anywhere besides just the token section. Then, like I said, it's gonna be kind of tight the first couple times. So whenever you're kind of breaking it in, you want to be ginger, taking off the top, just with a little pressure here and there. You don't want to put too much force on it, but it should still be pretty easy to take off, and after a couple times it'll be much easier. And there you go, all of our dice stayed in place, and you're pretty much ready to play wherever you want. So I hope this helped, and you know, if you have any questions, obviously feel free to message me on Etsy. And thanks for watching, and thanks for supporting us, and hope to see you at a tournament sometime. All right, guys, thanks.